Good evening, folks. Ken Hovind here and the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland, October 29th, 2018. I've had quite a few people telling me that you didn't respond to Aaron Ra's YouTube. He accepted your challenge. I don't watch his channel. I didn't know. I'm sorry, Aaron. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you put on your channel. However, since I just found out about it today, or just got a copy of it today, I will respond today. He played a 24-minute clip of his response to my accepting his challenge. I asked for the best 3 evidences for evolution. And Aaron, the self-proclaimed atheist, Aaron Nelson is his name. He tells me it's not that anymore, but as far as I know, I've never seen any documentation to say any different. So, Mr. Nelson, here we go. Here's what you played. I took my clip and then edited into it, which I said you should do. Now I'm going to stop yours and edit in, which I said I would do. I thought we would publish it when it was all done, but you said, no, you're going to publish each part as we go. Okay, well, let's take this slice at a time and analyze it, which is why I always say I'm willing to debate the topic of evolution if we talk about one topic at a time. And he talks about Christians doing the Gish Gallop. We'll talk about that in a minute. They're the ones who do that. Mention 30 things, and you only got time to answer one. We're going to slow it down, hit pause, and take one at a time. So we started with me showing my slides about the things we've covered that I don't think they can explain how they evolved. And I asked 4 simple questions about each one of these items. We went through the A, B, C, D. So let me just play and pause as necessary. I don't know if we're going to get through the whole 24 minutes tonight. It's going to take about 24 hours to answer some of the lies in his statements here, but we'll talk about that in a second. Okay.
In the comment section on the last YouTube, someone said, JD said, I have a question that's being repeated by many people. When is Kent going to stop running from further discussions with Aaron Ra? First place, I'm not running from it, and it wasn't a discussion. He is a bully. He interrupts.
That was what I said. He's a bully. Here's his response to that now. He gives a dictionary. Of course, dictionary, how many different dictionary definitions are there of any word? You know, you can look up quite a few different, people pick and choose the definition they want. But here's his response.
No, I don't bully people. Well, there is no question but that Hovind is...
I have to comment, Aaron, your green screen behind you with the fan blowing in the hair, you look. My daughter had beautiful hair that blew in the wind like that too. Looks good, brother. Okay.
Definitely weaker than I am, even in the very fields where he claims expertise.
Okay. You say, I am definitely weaker than you are, even in the field where I claim expertise. I don't know that I've ever claimed to be an expert on anything, but I don't know that I'm weaker than you in any way either. I think that is a unnecessary statement you made there. I think if you'd like to, well, we'll see how this goes and let the audience judge. I'll continue here.
I do not use my strengths to intimidate him.
You don't use your strengths to intimidate. Aaron, if you watch any of your videos, anybody will tell you, you try to use all kinds of big words. You're really good at using big words, and it intimidates people. Wow, he must be smart. What's he saying? Yes, I do think you do. I think you're mistaken on this one. Okay, but go ahead.
Nor do I think that would even work against his level of apparent narcissism.
My level of apparent narcissism. How long have you known me? Narcissist, I want to look up the definition of the word narcissist. I don't believe I'm a narcissist. I think any leader of any ministry or any business has to have a level of, you know, this is the way it's going to be done, but I think I'm the nicest guy I've ever met. Okay? I don't have a level of narcissism, okay? But we'll continue.
If you watch that discussion, you'll see that he was all about posture, bluffing, and puffing up.
Okay, folks, please go back and watch the discussion that I had with Aaron Ra. Did I puff up and posture? I didn't have a fan blowing my hair.
In that discussion, he agreed live on video that he would come back for a second round, but he went back on his word as soon as he...
Oh, I did not go back on my word. We're doing it right now. I said I wouldn't. Well, you wanted to call it a discussion so there wouldn't be any rules, because in debate you get equal time. This way, you can take whatever time you want. I'll take whatever time I want. You can't interrupt me. That was the whole point. No, I don't think I want to be in a live discussion with somebody who can't shut up when the other person is talking. I have a pause button now. I can shut you up and give my comments. Okay? Fair enough. Okay.
He was off the air. That's why they say he was running.
I'm going to make an offer now. Aaron, pay close attention. Kent's perfectly happy debating laymen YouTubers on his own terms multiple times. However, when he's confronted with someone who has actual expertise, I'm not sure what Aaron's expertise is, in a discussion that takes away all his rhetorical power, he cowers.
Hovind doesn't know what my expertise is. This coming from the guy who declared himself to be an expert on dinosaurs and the Bible without any justification whatsoever, and despite a decades-long continuous display of such famously shameless incompetence as to be a laughable example of the Dunning-Kruger effect?
Hold it. Laughable incompetence. A decade of shameful display. I think I've displayed, I know the topic of creation and dinosaurs fairly well. I think I've had, 151 debates now on the topic, and I think you're mistaken, Mr. Nelson.
I don't claim to be an expert like he does.
Okay. Well, let me just let that one slide.
But I've forgotten more about evolution than he'll ever know, and I will continue to...
You have forgotten more about evolution than I will ever know. Evolution is a religion that people believe in. Nobody's ever seen a frog produce a non-frog or a cow produce a non-cow. You can believe it if you want, and you obviously do, but I don't think you understand what evolution really teaches. I show every night for the last 60-some nights, right from the textbooks, there was a big bang where nothing exploded, and then Earth cooled down, developed a hard rocky crust, and it turned into soup from the rain, and the soup came alive. That is all part of the evolution theory. Now, in the last 10 years, when you guys' feet have been held to the fire, you've tried to narrow evolution down to variations within different animals. There's a whole lot more to it than that, and I give 6 definitions, and you're going to show it in a minute, and my 6 divisions of that slippery word evolution are correct. I think you don't know anything about evolution. I think you believe a lot of things. You have a great faith. It's an admirable faith, but you don't know anything about evolution. Oh.
To demonstrate how I am far more adept at this than he ever could be.
Yeah, I am willing to debate, very much. Arn did not want to do a debate, because then you have to follow certain rules, like don't interrupt. That's why he didn't want the debate, okay?
I only agreed to do it if it was not billed as a debate, partly because I didn't want to lend legitimacy to it.
Now, Arn, you labeled this one tonight that I'm showing as debate round 1. Is it a debate or is it a discussion? I don't care, okay? But I want there to follow certain rules, like don't interrupt. You can interrupt me as I'm talking now. You can hit pause when you re-edit this. And we're probably going to go back and forth on this one for a long time. But I'm going to hold your feet to the fire on each of the statements that you make. Just watch. This may take all night, okay?
Convicted fraud, and partly because I know how...
A convicted fraud. I am not a convicted fraud. Arn, listen carefully. The videotapes, KentHovind.com, are going to be put up on our YouTube channel, on our website, drdino.com. You can watch for yourself. I was not convicted of fraud. Look up the word convicted, look up the word fraud. I was not convicted of fraud. I was convicted of structuring, which is not fraud. I was convicted of not withholding taxes from employees. Brady went through every single line of that charge and the conviction. I did not break any laws in that one. So I was not convicted of fraud. Why would you make a statement like that? That is not correct. That is called poisoning the well, I believe, is the fallacy there. I was not convicted of fraud. You're either confused or you're deliberately lying, but it's not true. Correct it, please, on the next one when you edit my comments here.
Kent plays this game. I've seen him tell more lies in one sentence than there are words in that sentence. What you found?
Oh, okay, now hold it. You've said this several times. I've seen Kent tell more lies in one sentence than there are words in that sentence. That may be a cute, what's the term they use for that, mantra, but it's, which sentence are you talking about that I have said? What specifically have I lied about? Where have I told more lies in one sentence than there are words in that sentence? Your followers probably think this is great and applaud you. Yay, go get them. I think you're mistaken, Mr. Nelson. I don't think I've lied in any of the sentences. I believe I'm going to face God one day for every word I've ever spoken. Matthew 12:36, 7, and 8. I think you are too, whether you believe in it or not. We shall see. But no, I've not lied. I certainly haven't told more lies in one sentence than there are words in that sentence. That's a cute phrase. Stop using it, please, unless you can prove it. I think you are lying by making that statement.
Factor in all the misconceptions and misrepresentations within that.
Misconceptions and misrepresentations. I would like you to be specific. This is called a generic charge. This is a slap and run. Where did I give any misrepresentations? Where did I lie? I try to be very cautious. Some of you have been working or helping in our ministry for a long time. How many of my videos have you seen?
All of them.
All of them. How many of you have seen?
A whole bunch.
A whole bunch of them. Be specific, okay? Mr. Nelson, please be specific. Turn the fan off so you can hear, and show me where I've lied, all right?
So if you let him go for 20 minutes or more uninterrupted, it would be impossible to correct every falsehood he just spilled forth.
Oh, no, you got it right now. You can hit pause every time. Take one falsehood at a time. Here's your chance, like I'm going to do with you, okay, right now. Hit pause, correct the falsehoods, and be specific. The Bible says to not accuse people. Of course, you don't care what the Bible says, but I think it's against the law to slander people, and I think you are borderline doing that. So unless you can give me a specific example, I think you are slandering me unnecessarily. Let's stick with the topic. I think you're avoiding real discussion on evolution rather than because you're attacking me personally. All of this is ad hominem attack, has nothing to do with evolution. Kent Hovind lies. He puts more lies in one sentence than there are words in that sentence. What does that have to do with the topic of evolution? You've still not offered any evidence of how a bacteria can turn to a whale, or nothing can turn to a whale. Okay. Oh, I hit the wrong button.
It's a common creationist tactic called the Gish Gallop, named it.
Duane Gish and Henry Morris, who I knew both of them fairly well, they were geniuses, and they started the ministry that is today in Dallas, Texas, Institute for Creation Research. Duane Gish did over 300 debates against atheists and demolished them every time. So they invented the term the Gish Gallop, that he would start speaking, he'd go off and cover 20 topics, and then you didn't have time to answer them all. Okay, that's why I always insist. First of all, he did not do that. Okay, they got embarrassed because they got beat so bad and made fools of, and so they're again attacking Duane Gish, the Gish Gallop, rather than the points. That's why I've said all along. You can go back and review hundreds of my videos. I'll discuss it, but one topic at a time. If we're going to spend this whole evening discussing Kent's credibility and my debating tactics and your discussion tactics, and you're interrupting me 288 times, we can do that, but that should be the topic of the debate then. Did Kent lie? If that's what you want to label it, okay, show me specifically where I lied. To say I tell more lies in one sentence than there are words in that sentence is not a specific. I can't defend against that. In any court of law, in a free country, you have to charge somebody specifically. What did you do? Okay, I'd like to see what I did. The Gish Gallop, going off and mentioning a bunch of times, I try very hard to keep it to one topic at a time. You're the one running off on the Ra Gallop, or whatever it is, the Nelson Gallop. Okay, let's continue here.
After Duane Gish of the Institute for Creation Research. To counter that, I'd first need to explain why Kent is wrong before I can explain the correction.
Okay, he's justifying why he interrupted me 288 times. Rather than saying, hey, I'm sorry, you're right, I interrupted you 288 times, he's justifying why he did what he did, which is why I said, I'm not going to have another discussion or debate with the guy live. He can't shut up. One topic at a time, let me answer, don't interrupt. I got the pause button. It's wonderful. Okay, go ahead.
Which is usually complex, requiring more explanation, such that both of those steps take longer than it does for Kent to spit out his childish misunderstanding that he's so proud of.
My childish misunderstanding. Mr. Nelson, I think I understand very well that frogs produce frogs and cows produce cows, and there are no exceptions. And I understand and make real clear to people, no fossil counts. No fossil counts for anything in a court of law, in an honest court of law. When you find a fossil in the ground, all you can prove is it died. None of the fossils I have seen, and we got a huge collection of them here, none of them have a date stamped on them. None of them talk. You put interpretation on them, but your interpretation is not part of the fact. The fact is, this comes from a critter that died. That's the fact. Now, if you want to add more to that, you're welcome to, of course, but that's no longer science. So, there are no fossils that would count in an honest court of law. Every fossil would be thrown out. You can't say this is intermediate between these two. You don't know that. You don't know if that fossil had any children at all. How could you possibly prove that? This is where you guys run off on imagination like SpongeBob. Where'd he go? There he is, right there. Oh, perfect. Okay, here we go.
It takes at least 4 times longer to correct any of these lies than it does for him to tell them.
Okay, there you are again, mentioning 4 times longer to correct these lies than it does me to tell them. Let's take one lie at a time. Aaron, which lie would you like to discuss? Show me one. Let's just give me a chance to defend myself. Rather than you just make a statement that I tell a bunch of lies, be specific, please. Where did I lie specifically? And let's talk about one, okay? I think you lied in your sentence that I told more lies in one sentence than there are words in that sentence. I'm accusing you of lying. Show me that sentence, please.
That's why he wants equal time, so that his errors will go uncorrected.
My errors will go uncorrected. I would like you to show me which errors. I've been asking for that. Be specific, not generic. He lies, he's got errors. Be specific, okay? Which ones exactly? I show specifically the 75 lies in the textbooks. Do the textbooks in your city, I don't even know where you live, nor care. Do the textbooks in your state teach that the embryo growing in the mother has gill slits like a fish? If so, that is a lie, and you should know that if you've studied anything, and that should be corrected. I show 75 specific lies that should be taken out of the textbooks. The human tailbone is not vestigial. No fossils count as evidence for evolution. None. I'm very specific in my charges, saying these are lies. Be specific. Show me the lies, okay?
It's not about truth. It's about appearances.
Boy, are you talking to yourself. Get a mirror, son. Look in the mirror, okay?
Thank you.
He's stronger than me in every area. I'll be 66 in a few weeks, but I'll race you up the sand dune, Aaron. You look like I might beat you. Okay.
Knowing this, I wanted our exchange to be billed as a discussion instead, so that when he brings up his 6 levels of cosmic, organic, and chemical evolution that he made up, for example, I could nip that in the bud and keep this talk focused on what evolution really is. And
okay, well, let's do that one. All right, let's focus on this one right here. This is from Jack Chick Track, the 6 levels of evolution, cosmic evolution, the origin of time, space, matter, the Big Bang. Chemical evolution, how did all the elements get there? If the Big Bang produced hydrogen, how did we get silver, platinum, and gold? I would like you to explain that. You guys gloss right over that, like, oh, it's not a problem. You want to focus on micro changes, I call microevolution, and you want to assume that those little variations within the same kind is somehow evidence for all 6. No, the word evolution is too slippery and must be sliced up. And you guys are really excited about giving examples of what anybody else would call variations within the same kind, and you don't like the word kind. You think that is evidence for all of them. No, Aaron, the word has to be defined and has to be sliced up like this to be discussed. They do this in every court of law. They do this in all sorts of cases where you have to say, excuse me, exactly what does this word mean? Bill Clinton spent 4 hours saying, what does is mean? For heaven's sake. Anyway, so no, this is correct. And this is what you atheists and evolutionists hate, that I point out where a 4th grader can understand. There are 6 different levels to evolution. You have to have organic evolution. Somehow life has to get started from non-living material. Please, how did life start from non-living material? How do you go from non-living to living? I point out if you put a frog in a blender and turn it on and let it run for 10 seconds or 20 seconds, within 20 seconds, you will have frog nog. You will have all the materials, all the elements, all the atoms to make a frog in one place. Now, nuke it, microwave it, lightning bolt it, do anything you want to it, okay? How long will it take to reassemble the frog? I will even give you all the frog elements in one bowl. Can you reassemble the frog? How did life get started? I don't want an imagination SpongeBob stuff. This, Aaron, organic evolution has to be separated out and studied independently, because you guys don't have an answer for any of these first 5. And that's why you want to make it, you don't like my simplification of evolution has 6 different meanings. Is there anybody here that has any questions about that? Do you think that's fair to divide it up? If we're going to discuss the word, what do you mean by that word? So yes, it has been and needs to be divided up very carefully, so guys like you can't do the rah rush, and instead of the gish gallop, we'll call it the rah rush, and go off on a bunch and show a bunch of evidence for micro and then see we proved it. No, you didn't prove it. Let's stop one at a time and talk about them. I didn't make this up. There are 6 meanings to the word evolution.
Not the straw man parody that Hovind wants to make it out to be.
In my first and only discussion I've ever had with him.
So it is a discussion again? But I thought you just said...
It wasn't a discussion.
Okay, here we go, picking at words. All right, you said you wouldn't have a debate with me. You said you wouldn't have a debate with me, and you labeled this one a debate. Forget it. Forget the semantics, okay? Whatever you want to call it, okay? We are discussing the topic of creation evolution, and if you want to call it a debate, you call it whatever you want. Doesn't matter. But if you want to have a debate, we'll call this our debate. We'll label it debate. I'm debating R and Ra, and we're taking word slice at a time, word by word, as necessary.
Almost equal time. Yet someone who followed the program went through and counted the minutes and said he got 62 minutes to talk and I got 36. And he interrupted me 288 times during that show. And we saw that, the R and Ra thing, okay?
I had to keep interrupting him because Hovind could not understand the one question I had to keep repeating.
Okay. Instead of saying, yes, I'm sorry, I interrupted, yes, I'm sorry, I hogged 62 minutes instead of 32 minutes or whatever it was, you justify it. The discussion, whatever you want to call it, the discussion agreement was equal time. And that's only fair. So rather than say, oops, I'm wrong, Hovind, I'm sorry, you only got 30-some minutes, I got 60-some, that wasn't right, was it? Here we go. I'm going to take 6 years on this one, Aaron, and I'm going to explain word by word where you are wrong, and we'll go back and forth on this until you get tired. I enjoy this.
He kept running off on other tangents to avoid it.
Kept running off on other tangents to avoid it. I had to wait this whole program. I watched the whole thing to finally find your 3 evidences for evolution, which is what the discussion started off with. I said, Aaron, give me your 3 best evidences for evolution. And finally, at the end, you said, biodiversity is proof for evolution. You said taxonomy is proof for evolution. And you said the theory itself, the body of knowledge, the fact that there's so much information about it, that's proof for evolution. We'll get there in a couple of weeks, okay?
But he was not promised equal time in any of the written negotiations I've seen.
In the written negotiations, I remember talking to the non sequitur host about that and said, this is always my requirement, and it's a reasonable requirement for any discussion. Equal time. And one topic at a time. You're the one who keeps bringing up all the extraneous topics. Like my degree. What difference would that make? Okay, you brought it up. I'll be glad to talk about it and talk about your degrees in a minute if you'd like. Okay.
Except for our opening statements. That's it.
The Bible says, answer not a fool according to his folly, lest thou be like unto him. And then it says, answer a fool according to his folly. So it looks like you got a choice if you want to answer a fool or not answer a fool.
Well, at least Hovind admits that the Bible contradicts itself because it did.
Okay, hold it. Does anybody think that is a contradiction? No. It's an obvious. The guy who wrote it, Solomon, the smartest guy that ever lived, would probably notice he said the same thing in 2 different sentences. It's a rhetorical statement that we use all the time. In every language. They have that in Japanese, where you say something in 2 different ways and to get the point across.
Like homonyms.
Like a homonym, okay. No, that is not a contradiction in the Bible, Mr. Nelson. That is a statement that so you have an option. Do you want to answer this fool or do you want to not answer this fool? Your choice, okay? And maybe I made a mistake by choosing to answer the fool, but here we were stuck, so let's finish it, okay?
It's just the words of mere fallible men, after all.
You think the Bible is words of mere fallible men. I know you think that. You are mistaken, okay? The Bible is written by 40 different men on 3 different continents over 1,500 years with no internal contradictions. It makes prophecies about the future. Show me a book that does that. Show me a book that makes prophecy. It comes 100% correct. It was prophesied hundreds of years before it happened that a Messiah would be born of a virgin in Bethlehem. How could they know such a thing? It was prophesied in the Bible 2,000 years ago that people would have to get a mark in their right hand or in their forehead to buy or sell. Watch the news. Keep watching what's happening with the microchip technology. That will happen. It was prophesied that the Jews would get back in their land. Can you show me any people that have been taken out of their land for 2,000 years and come back? 1948, they came back to the land. That's miraculous. Would you think the Apache Indians are going to come back and take over America, or the Cherokee Indians? Do you think that's going to happen? Can you show me where something like that has happened historically for other tribes or nations being taken out and given their land back? We can go on and on about prophecies fulfilled in the Bible. No, it's not a book written by man. This is a book written by God. You don't like that. We'll see Judgment Day how that works out for you. but you will answer to God for every idle word you have spoken. I will make a prediction. You will stand before God. You will fall on your knees. Every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. Your tongue, that's from which curse words slip so easily, is going to confess, Jesus, you are Lord. I predict, Aaron, you're going to say that. Amen. Watch it. Mark my words, okay?
But of course I am not a fool. A fool is one who too readily believes improbable claims from questionable sources on insufficient evidence.
Okay, let me stop right there. Aaron, you fit that to a T. You believe you came from a rock 4.6 billion years ago. Improbable claims. Does evolution claim that pine trees are related to whales? Does it claim that pine trees and whales came from an amoeba, which came from soup, which came from a rock? Does evolution claim that? How many times have I shown that straight from your textbooks? You readily believe improbable claims from questionable sources on insufficient evidence. This is you, Mr. Nelson, right there. Bang on the dot.
That's Hovind and his followers, not me.
Hovind and his followers believe something that is improbable. Let me back up a little bit and get that definition here. Hovind and, first of all, I'm not looking to get any followers. Let me get the definition going here.
Well, at least Hovind admits that the Bible contradicts itself because it is just the words of mere fallible men, after all. But of course, I am not a fool. A fool is one who too readily believes improbable claims from...
I would say I readily believe all of the claims in the Bible because I think hundreds of them have been documented, have been verified. Can you show me something that has been proven wrong from the Bible? Has the archaeologist proven anything wrong? They've discovered, like the Hittite civilization. The Bible talked about the Hittites. Nobody heard of the Hittites for hundreds of years, and all of a sudden, they find evidence of the Hittites. Whoa. I think the improbable claims, all of the claims that I'm aware of in the Bible that can be verified have been verified. Some are yet still future. You'll see. Watch your knees. Next time you wash your knees, think these things are going to bow before Jesus Christ. Yes, they are. Questionable sources, insufficient evidence. I think there's overwhelming evidence that the Bible is true. Now, if you choose not to believe it, which is obviously what you've done, okay. I choose to believe it. But it's not.
Questionable sources.
You're the fool.
Insufficient evidence. That's Hovind and his followers, not me.
It is you, Mr. Nelson. I'm sorry. It is you, okay? I believe the Bible says the animals will bring forth after their kind. I believe if you crossbred two cows, you would end up with a cow. I'd be willing to bet you $1,000 it'll be a cow and nothing else. I believe any animal that breeds at all is going to produce something similar to itself. That's a prediction. You got that cat in here?
I put him out.
Did that cat come from a cat?
Yes.
Wow, who'd have thunk it?
Kit's come for cat.
Yeah.
I am answering the fool, but I don't need permission from his silly folklore to do that, and I'm not doing it according to his folly, either. When he wants to pretend that evolution teaches we came from rocks or that Lucy was just
Oh, pretend that evolution teaches we came from rocks. Mr. Nelson, watch any of my last 60 broadcasts on here. Near the end of every one, I show straight from your textbooks, you believe you came from a rock. Yes, evolution says we came from a rock. Tell me, where did life come from? And I can answer for you from your textbooks. Life came from the prebiotic soup, pre-living materials mixed together in the oceans or in warm little ponds or something like that. Where did the minerals for the soup come from? It came from a rock. I know you don't want to admit it because it looks foolish. The reason it looks foolish is because it's foolish.
Wow.
Yes, you believe you came from a rock. That's not a glib statement of mine. That's a very concise answer to what you guys believe. Nothing exploded, produced everything, conglomerated into clumps called planets or stars or Earth, and then it rained on the rocks for millions of years and turned to soup, and the soup came alive. All I've done is concisely explain what you believe. That is what you believe. Admit it. Quit driving on the highway. Those are your grandparents, for heaven's sake. Gee whiz.
chimpanzee, or when he goes on about his dog kinds, I'm going to correct all that folly.
Pretend that we came from rocks, that is what you believe, or that Lucy was just a chimpanzee. Aaron, let me explain to you. Lucy was a bunch of dead bones. At the best, it's dead, okay? You can't prove Lucy had any children at all. You certainly can't prove Lucy had different children. You see, every animal today brings forth the same kind of babies as it is. Now, if you want to believe a bone you found in the dirt is capable of doing something that no animal today can do, no animal today can produce something other than its kind, but you want to believe Lucy could do that somehow, you're welcome to believe that. That's not science. That's not common sense. It's not smart. Okay? No, I don't pretend that Lucy was just a chimpanzee. The evidence points to Lucy being in the monkey or chimpanzee family, not in the human family, that's for sure.
When he goes on about his dog kinds.
That is frustrating to you guys, I know, because there is a dog kind. Does anybody know any examples where any dog has produced anything non-dog? Now, I've had atheists tell me, well, of course, going forward, they're always going to produce dogs. Well, let's wind the clock backwards. Do you believe somewhere, somehow, long ago, far away, I'll give you trillions of years, did a dog come from something that would be non-dog? Answer that one in your response.
I'm going to correct all that folly.
Okay, please do. And I'm going to correct all your folly, okay? You believe Lucy, you can't prove Lucy had any children. How would you prove that in a court of law? How would you prove she had children that lived? Is it possible that an animal had children and none of them survived? How could you prove those bones in the dirt had any children that lived? And how could you prove they were different from itself? Could Lucy, if it is intermediate between humans and chimps, I don't think it is, but if it is, maybe that's a line that's gone extinct. Maybe God created a creature like that has now gone extinct. You can't prove either way. So it's not science, is my point. It's a religious belief.
I just hope he keeps it down to a few points per response.
Well, I would love to keep it down to 1 point per response. Aaron, you're the one who keeps running off on stuff. You still have, here we are, 5 minutes through your 24-minute rebuttal here, and you haven't mentioned your 3 points. The purpose is to give me 3 evidences for evolution. You haven't got there yet. We'll work on it. Okay.
Because the more mistakes he makes, the more I'll have to correct.
Well, good luck on that one. I'd like to see the first one. Give me the first mistake I made. Let's take one at a time. Okay. Better yet, let's finish this topic first. Your best 3 evidences for evolution. We'll get there eventually. Okay.
Bible says, make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man thou shalt not go, lest thou learn his ways and get a snare to thy soul. I would consider him an angry man and a furious man, and I'll still try to be his friend, still try to win him to the Lord, but I'm going to be cautious, okay, after the last one.
So Hovind is going to disobey his God and make friends with me anyway?
You're right. I changed my mind. I'm not interested.
Remember that in our last discussion, he called me stupid. He accused me.
Is there a different word they use now to describe that?
Where is the conversation about evolution?
Right. I called him stupid. I'm sorry. I couldn't think of a more appropriate word at the time. I'll think about that. Okay.
Being drunk, and he tried to correct me.
Now, as far as being drunk, you were sitting there sipping wine the whole time. Many people commented that you were drunk. I don't know if you were drunk or not. I've never tasted alcohol. I don't know what it's like to be drunk. But a whole bunch of people said, he's drunk. How many saw the discussion and thought he was drunk? There we go. There's a bunch of them right in here. Watch it. Just answer, were you drunk? Yes or no? Okay.
Me on my own vocation, which he showed he doesn't know anything about apart from
your own vocation that I don't know anything about. Okay.
What he might have seen on Wikipedia a moment earlier. He was very rude and condescending, and his hypocrisy is showing. But I'm a
I was rude and condescending. How many think Mr. Nelson is being rude and condescending so far in the 5 minutes and 19 seconds we have seen? Look in the mirror, son. This is you. Okay.
Sweetheart, and I can be a bucket of chuckles.
You are a sweetheart and can be a bucket of chuckles. I will refrain the obvious comment I would like to make right now.
The only thing I hate is lies and liars, and that's...
Well, yay! Well, then help me fix the textbooks. Help me fix the textbooks, Aaron. I listed 75 lies in the textbooks. If you really hate lies, how much time have you spent trying to get the gill slit stuff out of the textbook? Let's just take that one. Let's take one topic. In 1869, Ernst Haeckel said the embryos of different animals have gill slits, proving they're related. Darwin ran with that and thought that was the best evidence for his theory. This is wonderful. Look at this. The embryos have gill slits. 1874, it was proven that Haeckel lied. He faked the drawings. He copied the same drawing over for some animals that weren't even that animal. Watch my video number 4, Lies in the Textbooks, which I cover on my seminar series, which you can get for $50, 18 hours, the whole thing, and then you can send it back when you're done watching it and copying it, and get or you get it individually, Lies in the Textbook. I show all the story about the gill slits. Let's just take one. That is obvious. Everybody recognizes that. I think everybody that knows recognizes that as a lie. It is not true. The embryo does not have gill slits. They have folds of skin that later develop into bones in the ear and glands in the throat. They never have anything to do with breathing. I've got folds of skin in my elbow. I cannot breathe through them, okay? I know people with lots of folds of skin under their chin. They cannot breathe through, okay? So, if you hate lies, like you just said, will you promise to help me? I'll campaign together with you to get that lie out of the textbooks, off the internet, expose it as a lie. Say, everybody, stop using gill slits as evidence for evolution. It's not true. Would you commit to help me get that fixed? If you hate lies, prove it.
Why Hovind will never be my friend.
Fine with me. Okay.
It's not just that he's delusional, it's that he's so dishonest about it.
Dishonest about what, Aaron? Be specific. You said you hate lies. It's a lie to teach the embryo has gill slits. Do you believe the human tailbone is evidence for evolution? If you do, I will pay to have yours removed. I'll remove it myself. Come down here, bend over. I got a Swiss Army knife. I'll wash it. Okay? No, never. I don't want to see that. Okay, never mind.
And just to clarify before I'm accused of ad hominem, it's not just Hovind.
Before you're accused of ad hominem, what have you done for the last 5 minutes and 36 seconds? Okay. Accused of ad hominem. Okay.
It is impossible for anyone to defend creationism honestly, not against some.
I'll defend it honestly against all comers. The Bible clearly teaches God made the world in 6 days. I think that would answer why we got so many symbiotic relationships and why plants and animals reciprocate the gases. I think that's very scientific and logical. A rapid, instantaneous, fully mature creation is the only way it's going to work. I'll defend that.
Someone who knows both sides of this dispute as well as I do.
So, for the record, I am not the least bit afraid of Aaron or any atheist, and I will cheerfully defend the Bible position of creation against any number of atheists if I get half the time and we discuss one topic at a time. Now, in light of his last performance and failure to abide by simple rules,
your rules were never applied in that discussion.
I agree. They should have been. That's why this format is probably going to work much better, Mr. Nelson. I will stop you when you go off on your raw rush, and I will point out, to anybody's satisfaction, what you're wrong about, okay? It's been a long time. We've only been through 6 minutes of his response, and it's taken us an hour. We're going to have to quit and do this. This is going to take several broadcasts, Mr. Nelson. Thank you so much. Okay.
Here is my offer, Aaron, and all of you other atheists that want to, that you said I'm not running from a debate from him. Are you kidding? Aaron will make a video of his best 3 evidences for evolutionism. Aaron, what's the best 3 evidences you know of to support evolutionism?
None. There's
Yay.
no such thing as evolutionism.
Well, there's where I have to respectfully disagree. See, evolutionism goes along with communism, socialism, Marxism, Nazism. It's a very legitimate word, okay? It's a very serious belief system. It's a religion that has, I think, very dangerous, and people need to be warned about it. You guys love to put the ism on creation. They'll say it's creationism. I decided to turn around on them years ago, and I've done many, many debates, and my first slide comes up, creation versus evolutionism. And I watch the person's face that I'm debating, and they're looking at it like, what? Something's wrong with that. I can't quite figure out. Just like it doesn't quite dawn on them. No, evolution is an ism, Mr. Nelson. Absolutely no questions asked. I'll quit here in a second.
Kant calls anyone who accepts mainstream science an evolutionist because he wants to establish the fallacy of false equivalence by pretending...
Hold it. Accepts mainstream science. Is this the appeal to majority opinion? Was it mainstream science in the days of George Washington that if you're sick, you take your blood out? Was it mainstream science for 2,000 years that big rocks fall faster than little rocks? I think you could point to mainstream science and find scores, maybe even thousands of things that they were wrong about. And the fact that a majority of scientists today, maybe it's a majority, would claim they believe in that we all came from a rock if you give it enough time, that doesn't make it true. It's not mainstream science. I think it's common sense. Even after all the intensive propaganda for the last 40, 50, 60, 70 years, most scientists, and most Christians, certainly most people, do not believe this evolution theory. I showed the slide in my presentation about the 28%. The biology teacher saying, look, only 28% of the biology teachers believe in evolution. Let's grow the 28. What do you mean mainstream science? Anyway, we're going to quit for tonight, folks. We made it through 6 minutes and 33 seconds. This is going to take a while. It's been a long time. Join us, drdino.com. Come on down, see our amazing place here. How many like Dinosaur Adventureland? Isn't this place incredible? It is awesome. We love it. Come on down. I'll even give you a tour, Mr. Nelson, on... never mind. I was going to say something. But, okay. We'll do more later on. Thank you so much for sending me this. And I'm going to try to postpone my series on the impossibility of evolution. This is a distraction. Nobody has answered any of the 4 questions on any of the topics with real scientific observable evidence. They'll say, look at these papers. Look at these research papers. Show me the real scientific evidence, not lines on paper. Where has anybody ever seen a dog produce a non-dog or a cow produce a non-cow? I would like to see that, please. We will continue later. Steve, I'd like a fan on my hair next time, okay? Okay. Thank you so much. Push thumbs up, like us, subscribe, do all that stuff you're supposed to do. See you tomorrow. Bye.